together.
I've started Audacity. Yeah.
Also, just to add to the grief, the Wi-Fi is quite toilet here, so just so you know.
Right so far.
Yeah, but it's patchy sometimes.
I've started recording on my side as well, so...
Okay.
Right, let's do some claps
Let me
then.
know.
I'll clap first.
Perfect.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay. I was really worried then because I couldn't hear your claps.
That's
same
Discord.
thing
I told you this last time.
That's fine. Yeah. That's fine. It's alright.
That's all part of it.
Forget about it, really. It's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It worked last time.
It worked last time. Everything was fine last time. It was all perfect.
Flawless.
It was great.
I think it was better. Better than...
Well, better than the other 4 or 5 times, right?
I've got some new foam around my mic, so I'm hoping that
Have you?
get some reverb. Yeah.
Ooh.
So
Okay.
See how that works. Oh, the pop filter was always there. I've just got to you know what you have on the wall, but there's one that kind of cases around the mic, so we'll give that a go.
Okay. Nice.
Cool.
Fingers crossed.
So your P's are not pronounced too much, right? You're not pop.
That's still the pop filter. You're not.
Yeah, that's.
You're still thinking the pop filter.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
We'll get you some audio lessons soon. Don't worry.
Yeah. I'm still
Unreal.
new, really. I'm still new.
Yeah. You wouldn't think it with this sort of quality, but
you know, it is. That's the game. That's the game. How's Bologna?
it's great actually. The weather is the perfect temperature for me. It was mostly overcast today, which is great. We were out of the studio by like 12:30, so we actually got to wander the city. It's a lovely old town. Did a couple of touristy spots. Got to see Neptune. He was all showing. Every part of him was out. Impressive specimen, our Neptune.
You got to really know Neptune.
Get to know him intimately. What else? We had. Honestly, we went to the best. So we did the classic like Google best restaurants Bologna, and then we like got an Uber to that restaurant, and obviously it was just way too full. But then we walked down the street to another just like family restaurant, and I had probably the best lasagna I've ever had. And I've been to Italy like 10 times, and yeah, this was by far just like melt in your mouth, insanely gorgeous food. So that was great, and we had gelato. Like today was like it was one of the quickest Thursdays. Yeah, it's Thursday, right? Yeah, one of the quickest Thursdays that we were just in and out because there was no player interview for this one.
Yeah.
So we were just done after our segments. So yeah, we had the full day to do stuff, which is perfect.
Were you guys first then? Now that you were out at 12:30 or something?
Yeah, we were first. We've been first the last couple.
Yeah.
Get us out of the way. Because we can one take it most of the time.
Yeah. Well, we're all pros now.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Yeah. Alex, how's your lawn going?
Good. The neighbours have finally fixed their fence, so that's just got up today. So now my garden's actually looking kind of pretty. So that's probably added value to my house. So I probably should sell up now. But it's good. It's growing really quick. You saw I sent you a picture of some more diagonal stripes that I thought I was getting a bit creative with, just to kind of muck around with actually looking after my lawn. But yeah, it was all good. Yeah, growing quick, seeding well, and it's a great time to be alive. Summer, eh?
Well, it's great when everything's seeded well. It's brilliant.
Oh, you know all about that, do you?
Well, no. I had a good weekend. I went to go see Spirited Away on Saturday. That was pretty good.
Oh yeah.
That was like
yes.
It was like a fever dream, but it was pretty good. I feel like if you hadn't watched the film, like you'd have no idea what's going on.
Where did you go to watch it?
It was in London. I think it's the first.
Yeah,
time
you came down to London.
Yeah, I think it's the first time outside of Japan that it's because it's in Japanese, which is really cool.
Did you say came down to London as if you're from London, Joe? How dare you?
Well, I mean,
Oxford.
it's a fair trip from Rab. I'm not that far away. I'm like 40-minute train.
I'm still quite annoyed Rab's come down to London probably like twice a week and we've still not even not even bringing it up.
It's because my office is so far away from yours because I think you're like bank area, and
I'm
just-
Hammersmith.
Oh well, I don't know.
Yeah, it's probably just as far. It's fine. Don't worry about it.
I'll pop over for a salad next time I come down then.
Yeah.
A salad.
Yeah,
Okay.
salad for lunch. And then I went to a cup on Sunday actually. 12 man. It's pretty good. Played lax. Lost in top 4, and then a couple of good friends in the final. Was waiting for them to finish, and Benji went home with the win. Dialga.
With Dialga, yeah.
Pretty good. Yeah.
I like his post was like, I finally played meta and did well. That
I know,
cracked me up.
well, that was the thing, because we left the cup, and then he was like, "Oh, it's so good to do well," and I said, "Oh, it's really," because usually when I do something like I haven't self-realized, usually Joe will say something like, or Alex will say something like, "That's weird. What's the connection?" Or whatever, and then he said like, "Oh, I've played meta for the first time. I've done well," and then I thought, well, you've played a good deck, and you've done all right, so. It's a weird connection, right? So I think he's going to try and play meta now for the rest of his life, hopefully, because it's quite painful hearing how he's so unlucky when he plays like Forestress EX or something like that. So if he's
A good revelation to have.
I'm-
We all
I'm
eventually
praying.
have that revelation.
Yeah,
So
I'm praying.
I'm still backing his Forestress deck, I guess. Go Benji.
No, yeah, that's fair. But yeah, let's get into the podcast. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. We've had a really good reception from the last episode, which is really good. So thanks everybody for sticking around through all the bad audio that I've made over the past couple of weeks. But
and you're welcome for my input, which is what people were saying.
So you guys don't see the scathing I get in our chat. So from both Alex and Joe, they kind of double team scathing.
Hang on, it's well deserved.
It's, but yeah, I mean, you're.
We also give you credit where it's due. I think we have thanked you for sorting it out.
It's like a thumbs up.
What for watching the videos? For watching the videos we send him. It's
like a yeah, brilliant, yeah. Or it's like a finally.
Yeah, it is actually a finally.
Finally, whatever. But yeah, let's get into what's been happening most importantly with Twilight Masquerade. I think I'm trying to head up the schedule as well because Joe's laptop is done like probably minus 3% battery, but
We're at 15%. We're good.
we're at 50. Oh, that's pretty good actually. Okay, that's fine.
Surviving.
So we can talk for an hour then. That's fine. The first one is.
I've got to send the audio to you as well. Don't forget.
Yeah, that's a good point. The first one is Twilight Masquerade. So, spoke a bit last week about what we're expecting from the kind of top decks and what are our first impressions outside of Japan and first couple of results online. But now we've had more or less a full week of continuous online play and loads of hot takes and loads of impressions as to what's doing well. I think the biggest thing that's come out in the past week is probably Tord's coaching session in how to play Dragapult, which I think everybody's kind of hankering to see, I guess. But
just towards is an understatement. I think there's about 15 that have popped up in the last 24 hours.
That's right. Yeah. No, you're right. There's been a few now possibly on the back of that. I don't know. Just coming out of okay, everyone. I know the real play, which is really fun, but a lot of other surprises. If I just remind us about the kind of top win percentages just on Limitless play. The top win percentage with decks played with a share of over 2%. Dragapult Lost Box is actually 55%. Then we have Lost Zone Box with 53%. And then Dragapult Charizard with 52% or 53%. So those are the top 3 decks, I would say, in the online area, sphere, zone. The online zone.
Online.
And then decks with the biggest share count, I think it's no surprise that it's Raging Bolt Ogerpon. And I've seen that deck continuously being both scathed and celebrated at the same time, so it's quite odd. But what are your guys' impressions, Joe?
My first impression. So Raging Bull Ogerpon is like the most consistent aggro deck I think we've ever had. In that it reaches 280, someone going second ruthlessly, efficiently, and I feel like even late game hand disruption is quite weak against the deck because a lot of the time they can have Pokestop in play, and a lot of items help them get win. But even then, they've got Ogerpon, so energy can like keep cycling. Greninja, they have cycle. Sometimes they play Mew EX, and oftentimes they don't need much to close games as well. So I think hand disruption is like, obviously you're still going to throw it at them, but it's not actually that important. The most important thing is to weave in single prizes as best as possible. They have to be high damage single prizes, and that's why I feel we're seeing Dragon Lost Zone, which is obviously going to play Radzard, right? And other Lost Zone variants that can weave in one prizes to be relevant. These are all really important things to have in the deck. So I think it's justifiably one of the most popular decks online because it's very easy to play, very aggressive, and gets into the game lots, which I think is pretty good for best of 50 minutes. That you just get to play 3 games and you're the most consistent deck in the room. So I really do like its position. Like, I don't think its matchups are going to be busted for NAIC, but I think the deck itself is at really, really high power level. And I think it definitely deserves being respected. And I would 100% be playing like a heavy element of single prize if I was playing at NAIC, be it like Guardi or Drago with Radzard, these sorts of things. I would definitely be having high on my priorities.
Yeah, the first thing I said when I looked at the deck, the most popular 60, I thought, doesn't one Radzard just beat this entire deck?
Sure does.
What's the catch? Alex, thoughts?
Yeah, I agree with a lot of what Joe's kind of shared just then. Obviously, there's a lot of people who have kind of considered the sort of online meta and the Japanese meta, it's very much best of one. But when a deck like that's still able to be as consistent and go just really quickly, you're getting 3 games in, right? You're going to just be able to play those games. And that's something that a lot of people going into a tournament like NAIC will probably be like putting at the front of their sort of thinking in terms of their deck choice. So yeah, no big surprise. It would have been really interesting to have seen how it would have performed if it was kept under the radar up until NAIC, rather than it had this kind of explosion sort of a week or 2 before. So everyone's now seen it. Everyone's now seen sort of the raw power of a deck that deals 280. But now everyone has to kind of consider it in their sort of their meta that they're going to be going into for NAIC. The other decks that you've kind of highlighted, I mean, I'm a big fan of Lost Zone Dragapult right now. I probably haven't quite found the right 60 for it, but it's a really kind of comforting deck to play. I mean, we've all had a bit of experience with Lost Zone Charizard in the previous format. And what this deck does for me is it has some additional draw power as well. I mean, it's only like seeing an additional 2 cards, but those additional 2 cards really gets you further. And then sort of setting up your board state in a single prize is really cool. Dragon Ball Charizards, everyone's still trying the deck out, right? So it's no surprise using a very familiar draw engine and sort of consistency engine that Charizard's historically had. Will just continue to get yourself into games as well. And then you just try and utilize your attackers and weave them in where you can. So not a surprise that you kind of see those kind of win percentages above the 50% for decks that are generally quite popular.
I was looking at the Dragazard data on Trainer Hill, and it looks very favoured into like other Dragapult decks, which I'm not sure as to why. It depends how much Devo I think is in the format, but it feels like the Dragazard can set up math for Zard to sweep just much more often, which I thought was kind of interesting and not something I thought would be the case just like on paper, but it may just be the way lists currently are for Dragapult, and I think Devo will be like a bit of a question mark for NAIC, just how much it comes out in force. But that's just an interesting take that its data right now is like very favoured into like Dragazatu and Dragapidge.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think Dragapult does look intimidating, the lost box version, in terms of its pure draw power. But talking about other archetypes, I think one thing that surprised me just doing a little bit of research was Shintaro Ito's take on the Dragapult deck, which is the Pidgeot build, or Pidgeot archetype, whatever you want to call it, and making me feel less bad, I guess, about buying my Neo Upper Energy which is great, because I've already made
I bet that set you back a bit.
Yeah, something like at least £5. No, I think it was only like £2, £3.
Joe would have given you his one for free.
Maybe. I know, Joe's probably pulled about 7 of them.
Yeah, I'm good at pulling the bad ace specs. Did it again for Twilight Mask.
But thoughts on this one, because of course you got the draw power of the Dracolot, the kind of airmail type ability, but then of course Pidgeot with the quick search. So thoughts on this one specifically over Charizard and Lost Box, because I think that's the more popular way of looking at it at the moment.
When you give up any good ace spec just to play the Pidgeot build, but the upside is quick search is pretty disgusting in that you're guaranteeing stuff all the time. Shintaro's list is actually wild. Like, he doesn't play Rod, he doesn't play a lot of like one-off stuff, he just plays 4-ofs. It's literally just like a let me play the game list. It's like a theme deck build where it's just all 4-ofs, which is kind of wacky, honestly. I think he's probably missing stuff, and that may just be like a vanilla shell that you can strip away from to tech it out a bit more. But it shows the inherent power of Pulse, that a list like that can go so far, really, which is kind of interesting. I don't know. I haven't played the most with Pidgeot because I like the selling points of the other cards a bit more myself. And I feel like if I'm playing a Pidge deck, I'd probably just play Charizard or Control.
Yeah.
But the way obviously Shintaro's a busted player, but the way he built the list shows that the inherent strength of just Dragapults, pure and simple, is insane. And like when you play Radzard as well, why would you not play Recovery? It's very strange, the list, to be honest, but Shintaro is literally a madman and can get away with it.
I mean, he favoured Featherball over some of those other choices that I mentioned, so who knows?
Yeah, even just like 4 Vessel is wild. In a list that plays 6 basic energy, playing 4 Vessel is just like a statement, right? It's very strange.
Yeah. But going through some of the other lists that I think we've all become accustomed to over the past couple of metas, we've got Lugia, Archeops, Gardevoir, and Charizard Pidgeot still being played to the high heavens. Still quite a high share percentage in a lot of them.
What's Charizard's share, just out of interest?
But it's still only 4.4%. But
Okay,
but I still
so it's not crazy.
It's not crazy high, but of course for a deck that's still, I mean, it's only got 44% win percentage, which is pretty low. That's pretty poor.
Yeah.
From a deck.
I think
has been.
I think when you've been the deck that's been dominant and you've had such a big target on its back, it's now at a stage where it doesn't quite have what is considered maybe favorable matchups anymore. It didn't really sort of have that towards the end, the latter stages of, well, I guess this current format and what we might see in Bologna. But we're seeing even more sort of decks that can kind of capitalize on that as well. So I think that's probably why we see a lower win percentage. People might still fall back on it because, again, it's almost a solved deck, right? I mean, it probably won't have too many inclusions of the new Twilight Masquerade, but at the same time, it still has inherent power between Charizard ramping up damage, Pidgeot being able to quick search, but Barrel probably somewhere splitting around and drawing cards. And that's, again, why people are sort of trying to like mash Charizard and Dragapult and Pidgeot and the Barrel, something like that, some sort of amalgamation together at the same time. But
I agree.
Yeah.
I think as well, just looking at the decks that have the high percentage, it loses pretty hard to Raging Bolt Ogerpon.
Does it?
According to
Is that what the data says?
According to data, Joe, and I'm not wrong about data.
I mean, I'm not going to... I think that's super sus. But, I mean, Charizard...
And Dragapult. So
Dragapult makes sense, but why is Raging Bolt that hard of a matchup? Is it just because they're denying setup enough? I don't know. That feels really weird to me.
So it's only 36% into
Raging Bolt. That is very low.
And it's only 25 into Dragapult.
Have they heard of Radiant Charizard? That's...
No.
What's going on here?
Probably not, actually.
Weird.
Is it too
But
fast?
yeah, Charizard's a harder sell, no doubt.
Yeah. But then we still have Gardevoir, we still have Lugia, still over 50%.
I tried to play Lugia for a video today. I drained all my battery trying to get good Lugia games, and I've decided now that the video that's going to come out is saying don't play Lugia in all caps, and just going to be games of me completely bricking with this toilet deck.
We've almost left you for this pod because you were too busy playing Lugia, was it?
I was trying to get a video out.
Joe.
Sorry everyone.
You've
Sorry.
punished us. You've punished us.
I punished myself. I punished myself playing Lugia. And this is my reward.
I mean, it's so
Unplayable
weird though,
garbage.
right? I think we kind of touched on it maybe before, but Lugia just, it's always an if, but if it just gets that first couple of turns, gets past those.
What's
so
Lugia's win
strong.
rate, Rab? What's
Lugia
Lugia's overall?
is 52, which is pretty.
Oh, that's pretty good. That's pretty good.
That's
That's about how often it sets up.
that,
Well, yeah.
literally 50%. I think 52 would make it a respectable play.
I think it's a really respectable play because Control, I think, is way better in paper as well.
Yeah.
And I think the high echelon of players will still play Pidgeot Control or Snorlax, which makes Lugia like very tempting of a call.
Yeah.
What's the data into Raging Bolt, Ben?
For Lugia,
For Lugia.
Or, yeah.
49. I mean, it's basically 50-50. It's
Thanks.
102.
That's data.
It's 102.
And that's the data for you.
You can save your battery by not interrupting.
That doesn't say battery.
It's 102 wins, 104 losses.
I was going to say, I'm like whenever I've tested Lugia, I'm terrified of like you have to go first because you're Lugia, but then they can just clear a V off the board and it's really hard for you to come back. But I suppose there's whiff percentage baked in, and there's times you start Minchino or whatever.
Yeah.
Maybe 4-3 Minchino is correct in the list just to send up a one prizer.
Yeah. Outsiders are going to be Blissey. Decks that
Blissey can't beat Raging Bolt. I think it's a horrific play.
Decks that we've mentioned, or cards that we've mentioned last week. So Greninja flying pretty low, 45%. Blissey at a embarrassing 38. And the Cordyne Thorns. Cordyne Thorns?
This had a couple spikes actually, right? This had a couple like top
53.
fours and stuff.
53,
Yeah.
Hello?
Hang on, Joe.
There was a list that played 3 copies as well. That was the one that cracked me up. Like if you prize one, it's a 4 prize game.
Prize one, you're like, that's quite funny.
What space were they looking for?
I know. I have no idea.
I do love these lists though. You know what it reminds me of? Stonjourno. Do you remember Stonjourno
Yeah.
VMAX? It reminds me a lot.
Yeah. I think that's more a testament to how little Dragger's being played, really. I mean, it's being played, but it's like scattered around the online scene.
Yeah.
And I think that was the thing that bullied Iron Thorns. Also, it's worth mentioning that it's Japanese nationals this weekend, and that's the last thing that will influence our NAIC choices, I suppose. There could be some last-minute like list tweaks or something along those lines that comes out, which I think is also pretty interesting to follow.
Yeah, so
I was gonna say that there's one deck we've spoken a little bit before, Joe. Regidrago box.
Oh, yeah.
It's had a couple. It's had a couple of second places, right? It's not terrible. A lot of people are saying it's the more consistent way to turn to Pult, which I imagine it probably is overall. I'm also like Regidrago's worst matchup though is Raging Bolt. I think it's like 20-something%, which is woeful. And I don't think
it's 52%.
Not into Raging Bolt.
Oh no, 33.
Yeah.
No,
Terrible into. Yeah.
It's a good. It has good utility, right? I mean, it's kind of interesting.
Yeah.
I saw another build of it. I think maybe today. Where
Was it the Tatsugiri Bibarrel thing with Gardenia?
And Carmine.
And Carmine,
Yeah, so it was kind of focusing on just like really trying to burst through to those.
There was a
So that was interesting in that you actually play one prizes, so you don't get detonated by Raging Bolt. But that would be that list would be hideous into Control, which is a worry.
There was a new card that got released as well, wasn't there? Haxorus.
But let's not get too far ahead of ourselves. It's like a Beedrill, right? It's like the single strike Beedrill, right?
Yeah, it was like insta KO on anything with a special energy, right?
Yeah. It's gonna be. I mean, Regidrago is one of those cards where you just have to keep in mind the whole time it's in the format. And on it, like Dragapult is a huge selling point card. I don't think it's necessarily going to like top air or anything, but I could easily see a lot of Dragos making day 2 at NAIC. Not like a lot, but like a handful.
I mean, it's not It's not Mewtwo.
It has one hit KO and it has like spread. So in theory, you're covered against one-shot matchups and single prize matchups.
Yeah.
You just have to be consistent enough, and you definitely need to play a shred attacker in this format, like no doubt.
Well, anything more that you guys would like to add just on the Twilight Masquerade stuff before we move on? I guess
We didn't really
might-
speak much.
Oh, go on.
We didn't. I was going to say we didn't speak much about it, but I think it's getting a bit of an uptick again. Gardevoir does again, in theory, seems really good right now. It's definitely something I'm considering as well. Just being unlocked with Monkey Dory seems really cool in terms of sort of the.
It's such an awesome card. It's such a fun card as well. You can do so much cool stuff with it.
But I can
I'd
imagine
even
a lot
put
of
Monkey
people
Dory into Lost Box just to try it out, just to counter Pult.
have seen that. It does again seems really cool, but it also seems like one of those things where if you can do quite badly with and sort of like maneuver the damage counters like just incorrectly, and it just kind of.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. I don't know. There's some lists that just throw it in, but I feel like going up to like 2 Sableye and have Devo in your list is like a whole different way to play Lost Box again now, which I think is quite valid.
Yeah, I really like it. I'm a big fan of Sableye right now. But yeah, Gardevoir deserves a bit of time, I think.
Gardevoir is like the third best performing deck so far online. Very, very good deck right now.
I really like Unfair Stamp now being, the chosen.
Feels like the best. There's still a decent amount of Hyper Roma going around, but
it feels so good for Gardy.
it's just the fact that you're already playing double Counts Catcher and you have Screamtail and Cress, so you can make the Unfair Stamp plus Trap play actually work super early in the game. So you go down like 1 prize, then suddenly you're up like 3 because they can't move a random wonky guy.
Yeah, it's true. I think the I don't know if you guys wanted to continue talking about Gardy, but I think there's one more deck that I think has been mentioned a few times online at least. Is Sinister Ogerpon. I think that's
Terrible. It's not a deck.
No, is it? Are we moving on? Are we?
It's not a deck. It's
Yeah.
terrible.
You say it's not a deck. It's being repped online pretty well.
Go on.
Well, 52%.
Give us the stats then.
52% win percentage. Have that. Eat that.
But is that over? Is it over the 2% threshold that you said of play or whatever you said at the start?
Definitely not.
No.
No, that's
No.
weird.
No.
How many hit points does the little one have? Is it 30 or 40?
I think it's 30 from the last time I saw.
The one with the ability
30.
is 30, I think. Yeah.
It's 30.
Which one do they play? Do they play that little 30 one?
The storehouse hideaway one. Yeah. It's bench
Just
protected.
to kind of-
30 it's bench protected, right? So
Just to counter Ben's argument here, I just had a quick look. Only one of them's got a 4th place result for that deck. The rest of them are like 20 something plus.
No
at
more
best.
questions at this time. It got a top
No,
4,
so-
so
I don't have to explain myself. I keep saying this.
nor should you.
Just look at
Nor
the
should you.
data. Yeah.
Should we do a
don't have
quick
to.
little? Should we just end this bit with giving a maybe Japanese nationals prediction of like winner or final or something like that? Should we do decks in final?
Yeah, go on.
Go on then, Ben.
Me first? Okay.
Well,
I think-
Sinister and
I think it'll be Dragapult and
hang on, which poll? We gotta narrow it
so
down a
many
bit.
variants.
okay.
You got to
I
give me
think-
and
I think-
Alex something to guess.
I think it'll be Pult Zard,
Okay.
and I think it'll be Lugia again.
Alex?
Yeah, I was going to put Lugia as my first choice, sort of making it through to the final. I don't know if it wins. I was going to say no Dragapult and probably put a Lost Zone deck in there.
Yeah,
Lost Zone box deck.
that's fair. I'll go for... So I'm always like blindsided by the greed of some of the lists that make it and go far in Japan. So I'll go with Raging Bolt in the final. And yeah, I guess I'll just go
Okay. Nice.
Interesting.
Nice.
What a variety.
People will be excited by Shintaro's placement and maybe take it themselves. I watched Daichi did a tier list as well. Do I have photos on my phone? No, I think it's on my iPad.
Photo.
But that was an interesting tier list to like look through his lists more than anything else. He gave demonstration lists.
Was that on his YouTube?
Yeah.
Oh, fair.
I'll give you a link to put in this description if anyone else is interested.
Yeah, that'd be sweet.
Yeah.
Thanks.
I think I only saw the tweets, but looked kind of interesting where he was placing particular decks.
Yeah, he had. I think it was only one S tier deck, and he put Pult in S tier.
Oh, nice. Fair. Well, talking about future events other than Japan, of course, we have Bologna this weekend. Joe of which will be attending, of course. Now, Joe, going into this event, it is going to be there's going to be no Twilight Masquerade, of course, but I think the hyper end this weekend is going to be around last minute Worlds invites. Pressure's going to be on for a lot of players. Last minute attendances to try and get those last grasp at CP. Do we think going into this tournament, what's the hype around it? What are people saying on the ground, Joe? What are people
Boots
saying?
on the ground. They're not here yet. They're not here till tomorrow. So
reporting live.
Don't know. I'm the only boots on the ground at the moment. So,
how are you feeling going into it?
I'm concerned at how much control there's likely to be.
Okay.
Because Snorlax won Stockholm, and obviously Pidgeot Control had insane placements in where was it? Was it Indianapolis?
LA?
Oh no, it was LA, right? Yeah, it was LA.
Mm-hmm.
And Lucas Zing's / Bradner's list or whatever with the 101 Zard package looked really good. For anyone who hasn't seen that final, it's a crazy final, very fun final to watch.
It is good.
And it didn't necessarily demonstrate Lucas's deck that great, but the deck feels pretty good. And I think trying to get enough of that on the broadcast to show how strong of a deck it is, but not so much that people get bored after seeing it the fourth time, is going to be our challenge this weekend. Because I feel like it definitely has the potential to go deep. But it does play quite differently into different matchups, right? Yeah.
I was about to say that because you typically saw if you watch any of the broadcasts in LA, Lucas was regularly attacking or even Isaiah was doing that as well, right, when he was up against.
Yeah, I mean, I'm way happier it's Pidgeot and not Block. Yeah, right now. But also it could warp the meta in that we see more Lugia because obviously it got second. Second, and a few other things like that. I think there could be small tweaks, but as you said, Rad, there's people just trying to edge over the line. So I think it's more likely that there's going to be people sticking to their guns rather than big shifts in the meta. Maybe the top echelon of players will still make big changes, but more likely tech tweaks to safe picks just to secure their last 50 or whatever points.
And I think people will look at Control as being a safe pick, right? I think if people were...
I don't know.
I don't know.
Pidgeot Control, you need to be pretty good with.
Well,
yeah,
okay,
I mean,
it's literally one quick search and you lose the game if you do it wrong. I feel it's quite an unforgiving deck.
Maybe not.
100%. I played it.
You're thinking your comfort pick, Raph. You're not thinking of the general masses.
Maybe.
I just wanted to try the deck, so I took it to a cup on Monday, and it was only best of one, but again, it was just very weird lines that you have to take.
That's the thing.
Just going 2-1-1 and sort of making some really cool plays with Fortin and stuff like that. But it's a lot. There's a lot of brain power that needs to be used to find the right lines and don't make the minute mistakes. Because
I remember Sander in our CCG chat, Dow, was giving a running commentary during some of the games that was on stream, and he was turn 4 was this misplay because this range of hit points is different now and this, that, and the other, and it's such minute stuff that can change 6 turns down the line what you're losing to. So it is an unforgiving deck, I would say.
That's what's always put me off Pidgeot Control. Because whenever...
Yeah, so it's not a comfort pick. You're a control player and you won't even play it.
No, but for some people, they will look at Control as a comfort pick, regardless if they're...
I don't know. I think Snorlax is more comforting than Pidgeot Control.
Yeah, I agree. But I think
it's over-egged how complex it is because some matchups you sleep through as Pidgeot Control. But I do think the hard matchups you have to play extremely well to win.
Yeah. I mean, people use... I told you the couple I went to a couple of weeks ago where I was playing Glax and people were like, how do you do it? how do you do it? And I'm like, I'm like, oh, it's so hard to play, bro. Like, it's
Grow up.
it's so difficult.
You've been doing it for years in various forms. You just.
But I think, okay, so going into this, other than picks themselves, I think a lot of players will be looking for those last grasp points, like we said. And usually when we're commentating these types of tournaments, we're usually talking about if players are going to go off the rails. And are they going to pick a little bit more of a... I mean, we saw in LA, of course, with the Zard builds, they were playing the 3 penny, and, you know, they were going more towards diverting against control, or going in one direction over the other and playing a bit more defensively. Do we think that's going to be more of a play for Bologna, or are people going to go pure aggression? Or
I mean, respect Pidgeot makes complete sense, right? I think that's obvious. I think that's the only tweaks, but like I said, I don't think you're not going to jump ship on a deck unless your deck was taking the hard L to control to begin with. I don't think it's going to get too crazy, to be honest. I think it'll be quite a low-key tournament. I'll try and hype it up on the broadcast, obviously, but I think it's going to be a bit more of the same sort of.
Do we have a rough idea how many have registered?
I don't have the list, so I have asked for it. I'll probably know tomorrow. I think it'll be similar to, was it Utrecht, the last SPE last season?
I think that was about.
No, we had Italy last year.
We had Italy as well. You're right.
Yeah.
So Italy last year was like a low cap, though, right? I think it was like probably less than 300 players. I think, Rab, off the top of my head, something like that. But I remember Utrecht having like 200 drops on round 1, so I'm expecting like a lot more people registered than actually turn up as well.
Yeah, Turin last year was... Oh, no, Turin last year was actually 514.
You're joking. It was 544.
Yeah.
Mad.
Pretty high.
And there was one toilet.
there's always one toilet. I mean,
just seeing Pedro walk out the women's because the men's queue was too long. That was a highlight for me personally.
That was Milan.
Oh yeah, that was Milan. That was Milan. Oh yeah, sorry, I had Milan in my head.
Yeah.
That's what.
Yeah.
That must have been less than 500 people.
That was quite funny. He's probably, well, if he's listening to this, he's probably like, "Oh my god, they caught me! Somebody caught me!"
God bless. No, he was cracking up over it.
I could just see him now. He just shrugs his shoulders and then moves on.
Yeah. And you got to go.
When you got to go.
God bless.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I don't even know who's going to turn up really for this one. I don't know. So there's going to be that random echelon of like people who think they can push into 16, but then mostly probably going to be people looking for invites, right? So it's going to be a weird echelon of players.
Yeah, I agree.
Hopefully it gives us a chance to show people who we can't always get on the broadcast as well. Could be a good chance to, just punt with people basically and just see, give them their first stories. Stream game. Exactly. Yeah. That's how we have to frame it.
Yeah. So Alex, going into this one, of course, we've got a method that's already figured out. We've had many tournaments now with a lot of these decks being solidified in their place in the meta. Sorry, but going into a tournament like this, how do you pick do you pick your comforts? Do you pick towards those, or
what is your comfort pick at the moment?
Yeah,
Dan, do you have one in this format?
What is your comfort pick?
That's always the worrying thing. If I was going into Bologna, I'd probably play Lost Zone Box of some variant, depending on sort of the different counts. Just again, it feels like it has a couple of good outs to a number of decks. Again, it's just coming down to how you kind of draw at least decently well, and then obviously make the right decisions with the flower selectings and so on and so forth. But yeah, you're right. I think it is skewed because of the type of Pidgeot control we now have, and the fact that it just kind of spreads its wings like really across the meta game in a lot more ways than it has done before. And then, unfortunately, because of that, you're going to see things like Lugia. Joe's already mentioned it, because it just has a naturally decent matchup. I think Brandon, who came second at LA, was just like, I'd be quite happy to face whatever this Pidgeot control was.
He hit a bunch of them as well in Swiss, I think.
Exactly. So it's gonna be a natural way of how this kind of meta game goes. We're not going to see anything really jump through the shadows. I don't think we're not.
I'd be stunned if someone's waited this long to reveal a new broken deck. To be honest,
Yeah,
yeah,
exactly. So let's see. I think we'll get a lot of interesting decks still as it is right now. That's what we've got in the meta game. It's such a wide variety.
The good thing is the matchup diversity is still there, right? The deck diversity and the list diversity is still so high that, like, even though it's another tournament in the same format, we can get so many different games on this weekend.
Well, I was going to say list diversity because coming out of LA, the biggest, I guess the biggest surprise list, I suppose, if you would call it that, is Henry Brand's Burnett EX, or he called it Polish Burnett or something like that, right?
Yeah, it's because it's a brainchild of a couple of Polish players.
Yeah,
Mateusz.
Yeah.
He's been putting a lot of time into it on the online scene, I think.
I think we saw also a Feraligatr make day 2 in LA as well.
I didn't see that. I haven't looked down far enough. I'll have probably have to look at that
you won't have to look
for the
down
broadcast.
too far. It actually just got shy off top 128. Finished 130th. Adam Reinhardt, Feraligatr, Palkia V-Star.
Okay.
I think he's one player I've actually seen. He's done pretty well. I think he played a lot of Miraidon, if I'm not mistaken. Got his invite, and he was just like, I think he's got one of the first people who got Raging Bolt onto the Limitless page.
Yeah, I guess.
So I think
trendsetter.
So he's literally just been playing decks, which I think he enjoys. From what I've read online, which is pretty cool. Right? I mean, take him for Alligator. Yeah.
Get the unique Limitless page. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, why not? Why not? Okay, well, moving on from Bologna, I think continuing the trend of late Worlds invites and getting your last minute CP. Of course, we have collectively got a few World Championship invites under our belt, and I think it'd probably be a good time to tune into the aspect of SpilltheTeaCG a little bit more, which is late Worlds runs and how we deal with pressure, I guess, going into those last minute scenarios. I think, Alex, of course, you're still going for your invite, going into NAIC later in a couple of weeks. I think I'll start with you, I guess, how you deal with this sort of pressure and, going into it, are you usually a confident person or, how... where's your mindset at the moment?
I think you can tell by my response to both of you already that no, I don't deal with it very well at all. This is an awful time to be still going for it. But yeah, I'm in a privileged position that I still can. I'm probably where this pod is probably building myself up that I'm still going for it, and it's going to knock me down when I don't get it. But I think I have a different mindset for this tournament for NAIC because this is the very last tournament. In comparison to other times where maybe I'm chasing points at maybe with 1 or 2 to go, or maybe utilizing EUIC as my sort of main points grabber to kind of really push myself over the line. With NAIC, it's not going to be just me at the very last tournament looking for these points, and I think that there's that additional pressure that everyone will unfortunately have to take on as well. You have to take it exactly the same as most other tournaments, unfortunately. There's no real secret to saying that I'm going to get myself really sort of hyped up and like ready for a tournament. It's the same sort of preparation you go through for any tournament you have. Do the right testing, have your deck ready, be just well versed in what the metagame you kind of expect. It can go wrong. That's just Pokemon. That's the variants that we unfortunately have to face. And I am panicking. It's natural because I'm going all this way, and I can't wait to go to New Orleans. I'm really looking forward to that city, and I'm so happy I'm getting to go to NAIC again, and it's in a new place as well. So that's something I'm going to look forward to, and maybe I'll try and. For me, NAIC right now is my kind of mini Worlds.
Yeah.
So we'll take it like that, and it's something we've championed before, right? We've spoken about how large ICs are now. When there's a lot of people who can't maybe make it to Worlds, whether it's affordability points or other tournaments to get to that stage. When you have regionals and ICs becoming to the stage where they are a big spectacle with the production, with the whole casting, the Pokemon centers that pop up as well. It's, in my mind, making it like a mini sort of event beyond just the tournament itself. So that's what I'm looking forward to. And that's how I've got to think about it, I think.
Have you ever been in a position similar to this? Like, has there been a couple of seasons before where you've had to get your invite at the very last minute?
This late, maybe penultimate tournament. So say I wasn't going to NIC, which is not something I usually do. Naturally I'd only be thinking I maybe playing one more tournament. So I think it was maybe Stockholm, one of the later ones of was it last season or the season before, where I had to get points there because I was maybe working the last event, for example. But again, it's just something you have to naturally kind of go through. If you're someone as competitive as maybe someone like myself, Joe, or you, Ben, this is the kind of trials and tribulations that we have to kind of push ourselves through, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, I've been fortunate enough to get my invite a good number of times, and I'd like to keep it going, but let's see what happens at NAIC.
Yeah, fair. Joe, I'm gonna ask you, but you're usually you're too good. So I don't know.
I've not even got one this season.
have you ever been
not too good?
Have you ever been in a position where you had to get your invite last minute?
No.
No, because he usually quits halfway through.
I'm normally pretty chill. I think there was one where we did a late. Was it Torino SPE that we went to down, and we found out they lowered the bar as we were in Italy.
Actually, that was a bit of a panic, wasn't it? It was.
We were panicking for that one. We went to an extra tournament. Yeah. Yeah, that was a late.
And we found out on the day that we were playing we didn't need to.
No, it was the day we arrived.
Was it day
so
we
arrived? Then knew that the tournament didn't matter that we'd come all this way for. But we still both did okay at that, which was cool.
I can't remember how well did you do? Because I think I top 8.
We both top 8'd. I think you top 4'd. I think I lost in top 8.
Yeah, and then we had a nice jolly to Venice and had a little.
It was actually great, yeah. But no, normally I've been okay with an invite, thankfully. And then I flunked too many regionals. I didn't take it seriously enough. I thought I had more time than I actually did. By the way, I've got 5% on my battery. So just a little warning there if I go at any time.
You can send an audio file whilst you're getting some dribble charge in.
Yeah, but it's really I'm going to buck my ideas up for next season and do a lot more try hard testing. I think most of my practice is base level practice of these are how matchups play out, these are what lists look like, but I haven't gone deep enough into just locking into deck X for a whole season. I think that's going to be my secret weapon next season, is just lock in and just say this is my deck for the year, or at least half the season. So that I save myself time, and then I can keep doing content stuff at the still a decent level of knowledge, but a base level of knowledge compared to really in-depth stuff to go deep in tournaments. That's going to be my secret weapon. That's going to be what I aspire to do next season.
Yeah, that's fair.
Because it sucks not going to Worlds, to be honest. It's always been a great celebration, and I will have major FOMO over that week that everyone's over there, and I'm just not. So.
No, that's fair. I think a lot of people. Go on.
Sorry, I was just going to say. I think was it a tweet, or maybe not too long ago, Joe, that you kind of put out about just kind of testing and sort of. So EUIC was unfortunately it was too late by EUIC, but I actually want to do even more transparent testing. I want basically everything to be documented all of next season. That's my plan of every game I've played all of next season. I'm probably going to do something very similar as well. I think this season, knowing how tough it's kind of been, obviously we spend a lot of time doing broadcasts as well, which is a fantastic opportunity. But I never quite realised how difficult it is without that. And also,
I think, just there's so many young students and stuff who have just way more time to play the game so much. And I underestimated how good that was when we were younger, right?
I think a lot of that student community as well, their approach to this season was to get their invite as soon as possible. People were getting cups the best finish limited cups the first quarter. It was crazy. I think people saw the 500 mark, and they were just I need to get as many points as quickly as possible, as soon as possible. So people were achieving their invites. People who were going for their invites were achieving them way earlier this season, I think, on average.
I don't know.
I
I
don't
think they
think
still had to.
that's-
They still had to wait
that's
for
not
good
true.
regional finishes. Yeah, they still had to wait for good
That's
regional
definitely not
finishes.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
Oh, that was
'cause
that was my experience.
No,
I mean,
I
I
feel
had
people
them-
got to
I-
a good base, but then had
Yeah.
to still chip away.
Then I had to still
I mean-
check it, like, yeah.
I had that mindset, right? That's why I front loaded
Yeah.
a lot of my cups because obviously different time of our lives, different things that sort of come to play, work.
I like that you just
etc.
make up stories, Rab. It's
Well,
it's great.
that's
Yeah.
that was my experience. I saw people get
But
their
how-
invites super.
What do you
early.
mean?
Who got their invites
Who?
early? Because you could have capped
Name
at 390.
Name one. Well, I don't want to say names, but
That would be telling. Yeah.
that would be telling.
Yuho Caliber, for one.
Well, that's just what I saw. I mean, I saw maybe not achieving their invites, but maybe not achieving their invites, but achieving their best finish in it too.
Okay, fine, I guess.
Yeah, but that doesn't.
Yeah.
That's
Not an
me,
invite,
again,
but sure.
Yeah.
You could use me as a use case. I plateaued at like the 300 mark very early on, and it became very difficult to be thinking. That's why I said in our chats, you heard me complain. I know you guys gave me grief for it, but I was complaining that I wouldn't be able to then go to the next.
You're
step.
actually right all along.
well,
That's what's
yeah,
insane.
that's so
We were
funny.
like, you're a shoe
That's so
in,
funny.
and
That's
it's just
so
never
funny.
never materialized.
You guys were literally abusing me for being like,
Yeah.
he's won another cup again. And I'm like, well, it doesn't mean anything yet until
Yeah.
I even go to
It was
beat-
so funny because me and Joe were like on 12 because we'd attended like a league challenge on a Friday night, and then Alex was sitting there on 300 going, "Oh, I'm so far away.
Never gonna get this.
I'm never gonna get it." And then me and Joe were just like, "What are you talking about?" I'm never
Got more play
gonna-
points than CP at the
Oh.
time.
Hey, don't mock the play points. I love being a play point. Me.
Hey, you might one day get those registrations like nice and early like they've done with the younger years, haven't they? That could be interesting. But who knows?
I mean, I was top of the play points rankings a couple of seasons ago. I was pretty good. Like I was above. I think I was in first place, and then Tord was second in play
That's
points.
funny.
It was because
Did you screenshot not showing the play point bit and then just you above Tord?
It was.
Did you
It
do
was.
that?
So it was because my locals were setting their Tuesday night casual tournaments as actual organised play.
Yeah.
I think something along those lines. I think, and then I had somebody came up to me then in a regional that season and were like, "Oh, I know you. You're like rank number 1 play points," and I was like, "Yeah, I am."
Guilty.
I'll go heads, please.
Go on, Ben. Then what about yourself? You've had a few invites, latter stages of a season.
So the only time I felt like some real pressure was the season we came back just after COVID. So I was only 12 points off my invite, which was only a league challenge, right? But there was no league challenges. So I had signed up to every single regional and special. There was like 7 of them, right? And they were all within 2 months. Milan was the last one. And then I ended up with like 600 CP. So I was pretty happy with that. But the pressure was definitely on.
You didn't need Milan though, right? You were done way before
No,
Milan.
I was done way before Milan.
That was actually my favorite time, feeling wise, playing Pokemon because I knew that
Yeah.
I was just playing these. Like it was amazing to be back, and I didn't need points, and that's when I could play goofy stuff, and that was just like actually so fun. You
So-
forget just how great playing in tournaments are.
So you forget when the pressure's off. Yeah, I totally agree. Because when the pressure's on, it's horrible, and you put
Yeah.
again, I'm using pressure again, but you put pressure on yourself to do well, and you're questioning, a lot of stuff. But then, Milan was great. I think just going back to that was probably again one of my favourite times playing because I got a great picture of me and Tamao on table 1, and Harriet and Laura taking a selfie of them and me and Tamao. That was great. He battered me, but it's fine. I was 1 heads away from Pokemon Catcher, but it's fine. I won't talk about it any longer. But,
What was that in? Was that top 8 or top 4?
That was just A2. I think it was round 2.
Oh, how far did you go? You got top 4, right?
He top 8.
I got top 8. Yeah.
Oh, top 8. Jack
So-
top 4, Tamao final.
And then Tamao was second, yeah.
I lost to Morehouse in top 8.
Right, yeah.
In a Mew mirror, but I kept flipping tails, but that's fine.
Wait, did Tamal make final, or did he lose to
Yeah,
Morehouse
he
as well?
He
he
played
did make
against
final.
Ford.
Yeah,
It's
okay,
my
fine.
tour.
He beat Morehouse in top 4. Yeah.
I was really unhappy because I didn't get a medal.
Yeah, I was going to say,
yeah.
I remember being quite jealous of those medals.
Yeah.
Seeing
Medals
Jack
were
and
so
Tamal with
sweet.
them.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We
I
just
need
keep
to get a
putting
medal.
we just keep putting them over people's necks nowadays, don't we?
Yeah, Luke's got a medal as well. Yeah, we need to get medals on the way.
Game up, yeah.
He ain't got a national trophy.
Yeah, I think going with top tips though. I think.
Oh,
me-
sorry, were we meant to be giving tips?
Well, where was our mindset? I suppose. But I think my mindset's always
Just do it earlier. Just don't be under pressure because
Yeah,
you've
yeah,
already
yeah.
done it earlier. Is my main
Exactly.
tip.
Achieve more early,
Yeah.
pressure off later. No, it's just. I mean, mine's really simple. Mine's just playing the best deck in format. It's as simple as that.
I don't think you've ever done that. I don't think you've done that at any tournament you've played in.
To get points, yeah.
What do you mean? I don't think. Name the last time you played the best deck in format.
Mew VMAX.
Mew in Milan. Mew wasn't the best deck in format there.
I played it so much though. I played it for like every regional that season.
But that's not your argument.
Yeah, it is.
That's going
No.
to your comfort
Played the
pick
best
rather
deck
than
in
best
format.
deck in format.
What was
That's
the best
not
deck in
the
format back then?
Let me
It was
look.
Mew.
Hold on.
Surely.
This is going to waste my last 4%.
I was going to say this is going to kill a percentage of battery.
Is Joe that vindictive? Yes.
I really am.
Special event Milan. This was art.
yeah.
Like
I'm
Malamar.
pretty sure. And I'll give this to you. Okay, my list for Milan. I remember coming off the top 8, and then I posted the list, and then David Rudolph. I spoke to him afterwards, and he said that he was
Arc was the best deck in that format.
he was laughing at how bad my deck was. Because I played the worst variants of it. I played like one.
Ooh,
road
if you
something.
split archetypes into variants, Mew was the best performing deck, but Arceus lumped together was much better.
Oh, I battered.
So maybe you did in that format. To be fair,
Not my deck though. Surely, I played Pokemon Catcher.
yeah, I don't think. I mean, that wasn't common, but I don't think it was like
Bad.
wild
It wasn't unheard
either.
of,
I think
yeah.
there were high roll builds. Yeah.
Yeah.
When else have you played best deck in format? I feel like this is good advice, but it's bizarre to have it coming from you because you've never done it yourself,
It's-
apart from this
Yeah.
one
Just-
tournament.
Just
I
for
think it's-
everyone, Ben's 4 finishes on Limitless are a Mew, a Lugia, a Mew, and a Snorlax.
Okay, that's a good one. Lugia, that's a good one. So that was by far the best deck in the format when I played.
Look at his eyes lit up.
That was. I don't have to explain myself there. Stuttgart, Lugia was busted, right? Like nobody knew. I'd never played with it before that tournament, and I played it in that tournament. I didn't know what half my cards did, and I still made day 2.
Yeah, Lugia certainly was the Bediff in Silver Tempest format.
There was one thing.
God, your limitless for what you play. Your limitless page is so normal. You're such a normie.
All
your bad decks you do badly with. That's weird.
So this just goes to show how I never play good decks in my own time. When I was given the Mew list for Liverpool, it was Liverpool where I made day 2, right? Is that have you got?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The big 70.
Now this is really embarrassing, and I'm happy to just say it, but I didn't know I could use Forest Sealstone under Path.
Oh.
But that again, just take a good
Boy.
list, and then you can.
Was it your job at the time? No, I guess it was
No,
before it was your job to
wasn't.
know.
It was before then.
So
It was before then.
good.
The silence from both of you was deafening, but it's fine.
I feel like that was just like figured out before the set came out, pretty universally.
Yeah, but again, just play a good deck.
Weird.
Just like
You know what? Your limitless page does reflect that, so I'll take it back. Yes, you have
Yeah.
played the Bediff in a couple of formats. To
Thank
be
you.
fair, I just associate you with playing basically
Domination.
control in every format possible.
Yeah. Oh, that's fine.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I think let's ramble on last minute invite.
Sorry, are you awake, Crab? You
I don't even think
you can't even bother to close out the
I don't even
the
think
podcast.
I don't even think we
Oh,
spoke about
fuck yeah, that's it, I guess. What else we got to say? Nothing really. I'm bored. You're bored. Let's get out of here. Can you give some... I know you're not casting this weekend, but can you give a bit of energy?
giving energy. I'm giving energy. Am I
You were
not?
slumped down in your chair. We could barely see your head.
I'm
You could see just about your eyes, and that was it. It's the first time you sat up all day.
I'm always sat down in the chair anyway.
Do you reckon we're going to be the same size this time in this video?
No, not a chance.
Oh yeah, so yeah, we were different sizes, weren't we? We were like the three. What do they call them? The dolls.
Russian dolls.
That's it.
Russian dolls.
Yeah. No,
Good.
that's fine. But yeah, we can.
Do you want Joe? Do you want Joe to close out for you?
We can ramble. Joe, do you want to close out? You can.
No,
Close
I
out
was
if you
happy.
want.
I was happy with you closing out, just not how you were closing it out. To be honest,
No,
you were sick of it. You were like,
I'm not sick of it.
forget it.
I can talk all day. Like
I've got nothing else to say.
This is
I'm just gonna say goodbye.
This would be, honestly, the chat after this is going to be more energy, more energy. Why are you so? Blah blah blah.
Right, I've got 3%. We should actually close this out.
Yeah. Okay. What are you doing tomorrow? In Bologna.
Tech rehearsal, and I've got decks to play. So
Oh, very good. Is it just Dragon Ball?
I built just the 7 decks, so you know,
Alright.
should keep me busy. Hold on, my mic's on them. We're talking Dragapult, we're talking Charizard, we're talking Raging Bolt, we're talking Lugia, we're talking Lost Box. What else have we got?
Let me guess. I'm going to predict this now. I reckon Joe, you're going to play Gardevoir. Ross is going to play Raging Bolt.
Yeah.
Freya's going to play some Lugia, and
Yeah.
Amy will play some Dragon Ball.
She likes Guardy. She likes Guardy as well, right?
It was just a random guess, to be honest.
What's the last one? I've forgotten.
Did you mention Lugia?
Lugia's here, yeah, all the hits. I just haven't got control with me because I don't know how to build new Pidgeot control yet. I'm figuring out how to build it.
I'll give you a list.
I listened to Trash Launch's pod about it. They were deep diving into it this weekend. It was interesting. Listen to it on the plane.
Okay. Alex, do anything this weekend?
I am not in Bologna. I've chosen not to go on a stag. So.
Oh, nice.
Where's the stag?
Oh, wouldn't you guys like to know? I'm going to sunny Scunthorpe. Yes.
Huge.
It's an old mining town, isn't it? Or is it? It's steelworks, I think, isn't it?
Not a clue, but we're staying in like some large manor, and then just
nice.
golfing tomorrow, and then loads of random activities. But yeah,
Awesome.
Looking forward to it. There's like 15 of us.
Oh, amazing. That'll be a laugh, yeah.
Well, I'm not.
And it's my birthday on Saturday. Just saying.
Is it?
Happy
It's gonna
birthday.
be wild, yeah.
Oh.
So
Does that mean you're going to be in on random
birthday.
forfeits and stuff?
Yeah.
Are you going to be dressed up and wasted?
Thankfully not. Maybe wasted.
Yeah.
That's generally normal though. So I think
Yeah.
we'll see.
Well, return.
Oh, we lost. It's time. Look, we've lost Joe again.
That's a good.
What? He's bored of our chat.
That's a great image to end on. That's brilliant. Because that's how he looks whenever he's really kind of angry and just really judgy. So that's brilliant.
You get a lot of that, don't you, Ben?
Yeah, just a bit. Well, I feel like we can end it there. But everybody who's stayed on for this long, thank you for listening. This has been Ben and Alex and Static Joe, and we'll catch you in the next one.
See you later, guys.